Learn about the benefits of the Follow the Sun team model. シブ・アフラワット。豊田実。
Can you hear me now? Yes. All right. Good morning and welcome to SRE Next. My name is Shiv Ahlawat and I'm joined by my colleague, Minoru Toyota. Today we will be speaking about building a scalable IT operations team for a follow the sun model. In particular, I will be discussing the benefits and challenges of implementing a follow the sun model, and Mino will share some practical insights. Together, we will share some of our experiences as we undertook this journey. To introduce myself, for the better part of the last 25 years, I've worked on the technology infrastructure side of fintech companies in the operations role. I've been at Bloomberg for about 11 years. The first 8 years as an individual contributor, and then the last 2.5 years as a team lead. When I started working at Bloomberg, I worked a tough schedule. It was Thursday through Sunday, working overnights from 8 p.m. to 7 in the morning, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night, getting off at 7 in the morning Monday. This was very tough. You get off of work, try to eat something, go to sleep, you wake up, you eat, shower, and come back to work. There was no work-life balance. I did that for about 6 months, and then for the next 4 years, I flipped my schedule, and I worked from 8 in the morning to 7 in the evening. But it was a similar struggle. For 4 days on the weekends, I come home, eat, try to go to bed in a timely manner, wake up, shower, and come right back to work. It was 4 days, 11 hours a day, and there was literally no work-life balance. There was an opportunity that opened up on an evening shift, Monday through Friday, from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. So I decided, hey, I can get my weekends back by working 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Friday, but then I lost my evenings during the week. A couple of years later, 4 years later actually, an opportunity opened up to work overnights. Sunday night through Thursday night, 10 o'clock at night to 7 in the morning, 9-hour shifts. But I still had Friday nights and Saturday nights, and I pretty much had my evenings every day. As you adjust to different work hours, you try to find the opportunities to find some work-life balance and try to make it work as best as possible. However, there's plenty of drawbacks. Working shifts in a singular region, you're often missing team meetings, meetings with stakeholders. You're not involved in community events. Most of the events organized by your company are generally made to accommodate those that work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. That's where 99.9% of the company works. And then it also becomes tough to recruit talent into your team, because who would really want to leave a 9 to 5 job Monday through Friday to work overnights and weekends, the situation that I just explained. So today we're going to cover the benefits of implementing a follow the sun model and the journey that we undertook. We're going to talk about what the follow the sun model is, why organizations adopt it, what are the key benefits, what are the major challenges, some strategic considerations that we had to look at, and we have some recommendations for scaling, some of the things that we experienced and had to account for. So what is follow the sun model? So 8 a.m. in Tokyo is 7 p.m. in America. 8 a.m. in London is 3 a.m. in America. And then 9 a.m. in America is 9 a.m., right? So now everyone in each of these regions is working a normal schedule, but now you're able to commit to a 24/7 IT operations without having night shifts, night calls, and excessive on-call loads. And this is common in IT, especially in teams for global IT service desks, DevOps, software reliability engineering teams, infrastructure monitoring, and incident response teams. Why use a follow-the-sun model? It delivers a 24/7 service delivery expectations, need for rapid incident resolution, accommodates for compliance and SLA for uptime guarantees, there's cost optimization across all regions, and then talent availability and work distribution. There are several benefits that we saw in the follow-the-sun model. First, we realized there's a true 24/7 coverage. There's real-time support across all time zones. Faster response and resolution times. The employee well-being. It reduced fatigue, especially from night calls and burnout. There's better work-life balance, especially for those on-call roles. The cost efficiency can't be overlooked. It leverages cost-competitive regions without compromising service quality. You have to take into account different regions have natural disasters, political unrest, local power outages, so one region's issues won't halt the global operation. And then it broadens our hiring pool and diversifies our global talent pool. Some of the challenges are handoff complexity, and you have to take into account this. You want to make sure that each shift following your shift is set up for success. And when you're not in the same office, you have to make sure that communication structure is in place for all teams to succeed. Miscommunication during shift transitions or lack of contextual awareness could cause some issues. There could be some tooling gaps with your processes. There could be inconsistent workflows and ITSM tools across sites. There's also cultural and language barriers that you need to take into account for. There's different communication styles in the different time zones that you should be aware of. We made sure that knowledge management was accounted for because it could be difficult managing and maintaining shared and up-to-date documentation. And team cohesion and morale could also suffer, where there could be a feeling of isolation, especially when there's minimal overlap hours. And some of the common pitfalls that we experienced and we had to account for were incomplete ticket documentation, no clear incident ownership, over-reliance on synchronous updates. So in order to mitigate these things, what we did is we standardized our runbooks. We shared our dashboards, and we had daily async updates, whether they were Jira stand-ups and status pages. Some of the things that we had to consider were time zone mapping to ensure a seamless coverage with minimal overlap gaps. We had to take into consider holidays. For example, if we're covering the APAC region from Japan, Japan has 18 holidays. Not everyone in this region observes the same holidays. Just like in Hong Kong, they may observe the Chinese New Year, and Japan, we don't have those days as observed holidays, so it's business as usual. So you have to make sure that you have coverage on those days. So we made sure we accounted for that in our structure. You want to make sure there's centralized knowledge base. We encouraged a documentation-first culture. You want to have unified tool chain. We standardized monitoring, ticketing, and alerting systems. Incident command protocols were also taken into consideration, and we made sure we had clear escalation paths and handoff templates. Training and onboarding was made consistent globally for onboarding playbooks. You want to make sure you have a good communication framework. What we realized is while we were going through the transition of setting up teams globally, so we were originally based out of the New York region, we set up a team in London, we set up a team in Tokyo. However, we only had a few members initially to set up our teams. So we had handoff calls half an hour after each team arrived in America. However, halfway through those American times is when our new regional times would start. So we had to have additional status calls halfway through those American shifts to make sure the people in the new regions were also caught up and set up for success when they start. It's important to have metrics for success. We found it very useful to use mean time to resolution, or MTTR, to understand the impact of our teams. We also measured incident volumes by region and time zones. We also looked at our knowledge base utilization and our shift handoff accuracy. And then we also polled some of our stakeholders to understand their satisfaction ratings for our teams. Some of the lessons we learned could be passed along to other teams, and I would like to share some of the things that we learned on our journey, and this could help with recommendation for scaling in your own departments and organizations. So we started small. We identified people that embodied the values and expertise for the future of our teams. We started our teams as a pilot with 2 seed members on each team. And then we made sure, as we recruited, we got the right people. These members should be high performers and fit the culture that you envision your team to grow with. As you grow your team, it's important to take a step back, pause, assess, and maybe course correct. And we've had to do that several times. It's important to select the right individuals, and I cannot stress enough the importance of choosing the right people enough. They will determine the success of your team. We invested in automation for alerting, handoffs, and documentation. Even within our teams, people have different roles. We encouraged people to change roles temporarily so they have a better perspective of how the role could be improved, workflows could be improved, and then it was able to be implemented, improving the overall morale of the team, because everyone was in it together trying to improve the process. It's important to use feedback loops to refine handoffs, accuracy, and just general team performance. So Follow the Sun can deliver high availability, resilience, and a global reach. Success depends on strong processes, shared knowledge, and global alignment. In the next portion of this presentation, I will be handing it off to my colleague Mina. He will be shifting gears and explaining how this model helps our team locally develop a presence in the region and provide career opportunities locally while ensuring reliability.
はい、皆様お集まりいただきありがとうございます。私は支部のチームに所属しております豊田実と申します。ここから内容については、支部から引き続き英語で、登壇させていただきますのでよろしくお願いいたします。後ほど最後の方にですね、質問などに関しましては日本語でも受けいたしますので、お付き合いいただければと思います。Thank you everyone for having me today. Thank you, Shiv, earlier for the presentation. I am a member of Shiv's 24/7 triage operation team based here in Tokyo, providing infrastructure monitoring and incident response as a part of the larger reliability engineering at Bloomberg. I'm here to talk about a critical but often overlooked piece of reliability, which is people. And especially the importance of building out local teams with experienced local talent, and touching upon the practical benefits of doing so in this presentation. But before I do so, I'd like to just quickly see a show of hands of people who know Bloomberg. この中でもしブルームバーグご存知の方いらっしゃれば手を挙げていただければ。ありがとうございます。意外といらっしゃいますね。Thank you. There were quite a few people that do know Bloomberg, but that's fine. In case you do not know Bloomberg, I'll be sharing with you about a bit of Bloomberg, what we provide, and that will be the context of this entire presentation. Firstly, Bloomberg was founded 44 years ago and has grown into a global information and technology company, most iconically known for the Bloomberg we see here, a Bloomberg terminal that we see on the slide here. We provide services such as data, news, research, analytical tools, communication tools, execution capabilities, and more. But under the hood, what does that mean? That actually means processing 100 billion market data messages on a daily basis, 17 million messages over our community chat function called Bloomberg IB, and providing over 30,000 functions through our terminal to all of our users globally. And we do this by the 24,000 employees across the 159 locations around the globe. I hope by that you can imagine the reliability demands for supporting such scale in a time-sensitive industry. Yet that's exactly what we do in our team. And that brings us to the focus of this section, the role of having local teams in making reliability possible. People matter in reliability. Technology isn't the only thing that makes systems reliable. Some may have seen this representation before, but for those not familiar, this is a snapshot of the reliability map, available openly online at r9y.dev if you want to take a look later on. And it is a structured, interactive tech tree aimed at guiding organizations through different levels of reliability, starting from 90% to 99.999%, and on and on and on. Now, if you're squinting at this, you don't need to. The point of what I'm about to share isn't in the details of this slide per se. So what I'm going to be highlighting here is the people domain that we have in the red circle here. It is actually a defined domain of reliability, alongside development, infrastructure, operation, and observability. What the people section entails are things like soft skills, behavior, communication, and culture. And at Bloomberg, we understand the importance of people. In building out the local triage operations team in APAC, starting here in Tokyo. I touched on the scale of service and products that Bloomberg provides earlier and its reliability demands. And just in case that wasn't enough, now consider this. Global consistency of tooling and metrics are, in fact, very important, but there are always nuances specific to that local region that add valuable context to be considered in appropriately assessing impact and severity of problems. For example, exchanges and market maturity. Each exchange may run on different protocols and have different requirements from a technical perspective. Or market impact is also dependent on the maturity of the market, or even to a more granular level, the product and the asset class level maturity. For instance, here in Japan, Japan is a very mature market, but look across at the rest of Asia Pacific. We have a huge emerging market presence here. They all have varying levels of maturity. On the other hand, looking at our clients too, we serve various types of clients, from corporates to financial institutions, government agencies, and more. Each of these clients have different needs, different workflows, even bespoke custom builds, all integrated with Bloomberg systems. And that context is just one of the reasons why we prefer to build local teams with local talent. Because we are able to tap into and leverage that local knowledge and experience that is already available there. Now, you may have heard the word glocal, which is a combination of global and local. That may seem cliche to some people, but it really isn't. I feel actually that is an understatement. Whether it's navigating local regulations or as simple as understanding how a customer actually and really uses our product, this type of context matters to understand the problem, as it is simply not one size fits all. Having people with this type of knowledge and experience on the team helps provide that context for better reliability. Having these local teams that understand that context can provide faster responses, better triage, and fewer miscommunication around understanding. With local teams of local talent, we also benefit from each individual's existing channels of communication and relationships that we have, which we're able to leverage not only during critical incidents, but provides eyes and ears on the ground of potentially any issues bubbling up that may require attention, as well as promoting and influencing reliability awareness in the community. In addition to the benefits from the added context and existing channels, opening a new local team in Tokyo also provides new opportunities. Given our Tokyo office is actually the first office that was built out in Asia Pacific, established back in 1987, we traditionally have had a very strong business and corporate function presence, and comparatively a smaller engineering community group. But partly owing to the opening of our team here, we've actually seen a 5.5% increase in engineering staff in the office compared to the same time last year, and opening up new opportunities for talent across the office with a passion in technology. This means our teams were fortunately blessed with tenured and experienced employees that have pathed across the organization. And because we are a tech company, tech-related role or not, individuals possess already a strong understanding and background in technology, which is a win-win situation where reliability benefits from the talent's experience getting baked into the operations over time as the reliability cycle turns, as well as for the individual talent's perspective, for them to be able to progress their career. And of course, a total win for our organization. Here's an example of my career path within Bloomberg, showing how I journeyed through the several organizations that I had experience in. I've been with the firm over 16 years now, starting my career originally on the operational side of the business, providing support, integration services for the Bloomberg terminal and the enterprise-level trading products. I actually had the opportunity to contribute as an individual contributor, a team leader, and a manager as well. Just prior to joining this triage operations team, I made the decision to actually move into a more corporate functioning role in the legal division called product oversight, where I was responsible for understanding all of our clients' workflows with using any of our products and ensuring contractual compliance. Now, what's important here is not necessarily the path I took, but it's about how I built my own experience profile, how I learned and picked up all these transferable skills. And consider the fact that it's not just me, it's a team. My teammates also have gone through very different groups within the organization to build their own experience profile that is adding value to reliability. At Bloomberg, we believe people, especially local talent, are the key players of reliability. It's not just operationally smart, it's also the reliability enabler. You can have the best monitoring tools in the world, but that's really not enough. Without trusted, empowered people interpreting and acting on signals and making sure it becomes even better is what will ultimately help push reliability towards that next 9 in the 99.9% reliability. Now I summarize. Here at Bloomberg, our local team provides context. We understand regional nuances and how clients truly use our products. We bring our relationship channels, trusted networks that speed up communication and incident response. We create opportunity, opening new career paths for the local community. We offer rich experience profiles, contributing to reliability from diverse experience combined from across our organization. And that's really what keeps our team agile, motivated, and resilient. Technology will advance, and the way we work and operate will evolve, but they will always be ready to come back for another day to add their own unique value. Now, for those that do need a framework to work with to understand where they currently stand in terms of reliability, the reliability map that I shared earlier is available. It can be referenced online. It'll help you to actually assess, explore, plan, and track and scale based on your current state of reliability. And for those who are more interested on the team development side, the Tuckman's team development model is also widely used across the industry globally, including Japan, and accessible online very easily. It'll help you understand what the current state of your team is and provide guidance on how to take your team to the next stage. And that's it really for our presentation. プレゼンの部分はこちらで以上となりますけども、この後、質問 will be taking questions both in English and Japanese、日本語でも英語でもどちらでも構いませんので、気楽にお聞きください。ありがとうございました。Thank you very much, everybody.